Hello there, ladies, gentlemen, and non-binary folk. What's going on? I'm RezenatorZen, and I'm going to be responding to some shit, once again, from the American Thinker. And the topic is the same as the last video I did, where I responded to some shit from the American Thinker, and that is race. And how some people don't like the fact that they get called racist because they're racist. You know, the fucking, the bitch from, last fucking video was like, I'm not racist, I didn't grow up in a, diverse neighborhood, and, I never questioned it. I grew up in the fucking 30s, 40s, and 50s. My formative years were in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. My family may have been a part of the fucking American Nazi Party. Actually, probably true. But what I meant to say is the German American Bund Association, which was active during World War II. Anywho, the person who wrote this is not that same fucking old, one step fucking closer to death bitch. No, this is another fucking idiot asshole whose name is E.M. Cadwallader. And the title of his pile of shit is What is Racism? Probably what I'm about to fucking read. And I have skimmed this, and yeah. It's it's special. So, let's get to it. I think it's fair to say that everyone in America who isn't of color, and of colors in quotes, or irredeemably brainwashed by our educational system is sick of being called racist. You know how easy it is to not be called a racist? Don't be a fucking racist. Simple. Easy. Takes a second. You get called racist, go, have I been saying some very racist things? I have. I should stop that shit. That's how easy it fucking is. While most people have been busy getting on with other things, left-wing academics and minority activists have changed the language itself to suit their agendas. Yeah, the fact that you later on in this bring up race realist, which is a fucking euphemism for racist. Because usually the people who pimp out race realism are racist. Fuck, I also thought race realism and race realist wasn't a fucking term outside of YouTube in a very specific section of time in this fucking, horrible fucking timeline, but apparently it's not. It's a real fucking term that people use outside of fucking YouTube. Like, wasn't Fringe Elements a fucking race realist? Hey Ruka was a race realist, I think. Fucking, oh, Jesus Christ. We ignore this cultural Marxist. Just a fun fact, cultural Marxist, one, it's a dog whistle. Two, it's usually only ever used by white nationalists and white supremacists, or even just neo-Nazis. So, whatever you don't like is cultural Marxist. Which is, it's also it was also used by the Nazis, but it used to be called cultural Bolshevism. But, it's now just cultural Marxist, because it mutated with the times. We ignore this cultural Marxist shell game at our peril. We cannot allow ourselves to be defined by our enemy's linguistic sleight of hand. Because, we're able to use multisyllabic fucking words. We aren't limited to monosyllabic shit. We understand the root of words. We understand, fucking a whole lot of things, but when I was a pudgy child in elementary school who didn't apparently eat enough fucking lead paint to die, the teachers explained to me what racism was. They told me over and over that what the fuck? Okay, literally that it was This dude does not know how to write a fucking English sentence. They told me over and over that it was twice in this fucking sentence. Racist who judge a person by the color of his skin. Which, it's weird that you gendered that, or it's not necessarily weird because a lot of people who are also race realist are also just misogynistic, fucking, jingoistic shitheads, but my school's formula was a simplification of Martin Luther King evocative phrase, I look to a day when people will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Why do racists love to quote King without realizing? You also use the same fucking phrase from Martin Luther King Jr. Ignoring the fact that people being judged by their color of their skin still fucking happens to this day, and it's generally why black people end up getting shot. Unarmed black people usually get shot by fucking police because they're black, not because they're a danger to anybody or themselves. Which kind of seems, counterproductive to shoot someone who's a danger to themselves, because just it's not really how you protect them. But, case in point, look at all the white supremacist shooters that have been taken into custody fine and dandy, but Tamir Rice, who hadn't shot anybody because he had a fake fucking gun, got executed by the police. But, Dylan Roof, who shot up a black church, got taken in alive. I can't speak for anyone else, but as a child in the early 1970s, again, who didn't eat, in my opinion, enough lead paint chips to die, I was given the impression that I was living in a newly enlightened age, because you probably were surrounded by a bunch of fucking idiots, who like to think that, we're in a new and enlightened age, because fucking, it's generally not, that's not how things generally work. Systemic racism doesn't just disappear overnight. I believed that previous generations had been humblessly bigoted for no better reasons than ignorance and outright wickedness. Is that not what you think now? This was right thinking in my particular school in my particular part of America at that time, and no doubt in many other people's schools as well. Which again, fucking, have you come to the opinion that they weren't just hopelessly fucking bigoted for, that they were just ignorant and just evil sacks of shit? They were nuanced in their racism, They thought black people were inferior to white people because, of race science, and, they're a different race, which means they're a different species, and fucking, but elementary school children will do their best to absorb whatever adults in authority tell them. You can give them good, bad, or indifferent ideas because they have no way of determining which is which. You very much do not have a lot of respect for children. But, that's probably because you were a very fucking pig-ignorant dipshit in elementary school. Don't judge people by the color of their skin actually was and is a pretty good idea. It's too bad the fucking police don't, abide by that. Or the federal government doesn't abide by that either. It's a less folksy way of saying, don't judge a book by its cover. And yet, when you guys get called fucking racist, not because you're white, but because of the things you fucking say, you're like, you're judging me because I'm white. It's like, no, because of the shit you fucking have said on Twitter and in various other forms of media. Try to judge a person on his individual merits might be a broader and more forgiving phrase. Unfortunately, no good idea ever makes it through the sausage grinder of progressive ideology with much of its goodness left intact. Seriously, I've read this. You're about to defend race science, okay? Fucking, You're about to defend someone who literally says that African people are stupider than Western people. So, fuck you. Close on the heels of don't judge people by the color of their skin came the seemingly harmless, not quite corollary that all of us are like under the skin, which we are. Because we're all fucking human beings. Except for, the garbage heaps of shit that you fuckers are that have anthropomorphized into human form. What this meant, as any child can tell you, is that no race of people is any better than any other. Not in intelligence, not in self-control, and not in moral virtue, which is true. If white people were, on average, more successful and better adapted than blacks, this had to be the result of the ugly racist past that blacks had suffered through. Yeah? Slavery and Jim Crow? Jim Crow literally ended less than fucking 60 years ago. Fucking... Jim Crow literally ended, what, in the fucking late 60s? Like, mid to late 60s? That's like 50, what? Like 50, 60 fucking years maybe at this point? Like... Also, this country was founded by a bunch of slave-owning, slave-raping scumfucks that made it so that way only rich land-owning white people could vote. And even then, the rich land-owning white people had to be men to vote. So... yeah, this country's kind of founded on really fucked up, hypocritical scumfucks. That's even if you ignore, which you shouldn't, all of the genocide that white people have fucking committed on this fucking, on this goddamn stolen land. And then have the audacity to be like, these people are coming here illegally. It's like, bitch, your fucking ancestors came here illegally. Probably my fucking ancestors quite, because I don't necessarily know my fucking, but like, I'm white. Okay. As white people, it was our in italics, collective fault. It could not have been even partially a result of any underlying real difference. Again, slavery and Jim Crow were things. I presume you were alive. Fucking... And just like the fucking bitch from the other video, he's not mentioning where this motherfucker grew up. Like, he's not mentioning where he grew up, which is very interesting. There's a quietly growing body of people, sometimes grouped under the rubric of race realists. Race realists are real racist, who now argue that different groups of people with different genetics actually aren't entirely alike, not in intelligence, temperament, or any other characteristic. Those people have always been around, you fucking idiot. It just has become less fucking okay to be openly racist like that. Fucking... Also, that kind of idea is what led to black people being enslaved. You shitheel. You absolute unredeemable piece of human shit. While it still pains me to say this, such a view is not fundamentally racist, nor is it likely false. Yes, I'm sure it really fucking pains you to say this abhorrent shit that's not based in fucking reality. I say it is racist because I still believe in rule number 1. Let's judge individuals on their individual merits if we can. But, the fucking group that has been historically marginalized and treated as other, they're just naturally fucking stupid. Not that they've been, fucking treated and treated like garbage and mistreated for fucking hundreds of years, which has an effect, especially on how the world sees us. Group characteristics are averages, and that is something very different. Most Watusis are rather taller than most Chinese. That doesn't mean they're different fucking species, you jackass. You fucking asshole. This is a fact, not an instance of height bigotry. Norwegians are more likely to have blue eyes than the typical Venezuelan. They're literally... Those are physical fucking characteristics. Also, that shit had been historically true because of, racial homogeny. And there was a lot of fucking traffic and, travel between fucking countries because of, shitty fucking ideas. Fucking go and have a look at yourself. This truth will be revealed to you. This truth, and those are my quotes. This truth and that all groups average out. The common knowledge, in quotes, that all racial differences are merely superficial, and that all groups average out perfectly the same in the mental world, despite their obvious differences in the physical world, is not the product of careful scientific inquiry. What the fuck? Despite their obvious physical differences in the physical world. Which, height and eye color are superficial fucking differences. Height is literally how much your bones grow. Fucking your eye color. By the way, blue eyes is the result of fucking incest. Didn't know about that, did you? No. Yeah, fucking blue eyes, result of incest. That's why we have blue eyes. A bunch of fucking royal people didn't like fucking the common folk, so that's how we got fucking blue eyes. But again, that having blue eyes doesn't mean you're a completely different fucking species. We're the same fucking species. We're the human species. Fucking... We all have the same fucking brain, unless, of course, you're someone who has a different structure in your brain. But that doesn't mean you're less human. You're just a different human. You could literally take an average black person's brain and an average white person's brain and look at them and you couldn't tell the fucking difference, probably. Like, they're fucking brains. They function the same fucking way. It's not the product of careful scientific inquiry. We've been told it is, but no one, and I mean no one, has ever shown you any. Who the fuck are you? You're some scumfuck with a blog spot. Fuck you. You literally defend racist fucking people. Well, we'll get to that. A tacit agreement has permeated the West since World War II that it is simply too dirty and too dangerous to even imagine that races, or cultures for that matter, might be more than superficially different. Yes, because you know what it led to? The fucking Holocaust. The fucking genocide of people. It leads to eugenics. You scummy fuckstick. It leads to bad things. If you're a normal human, if you're not a fucking sociopathic racist, fucking believe they are different with no fucking evidence, and you will be called a Nazi and accused of advocating genocide. Because the people who say the shit you just said do advocate for fucking genocide. Those ideas led to the Holocaust. It led to fucking... Jesus fucking Christ. This accusation is nonsense on its face. Why? Explain to me. Use words to explain to me why that is a bullshit a bullshit accusation. Explain to me using your words why it's bullshit to go, hey, this person's saying that... Also, again, the people who advocated that, like, Jewish people and fucking, black people and all these other fucking people are different and dirty and, their fucking genes are awful, were the fucking Nazis. So if you're gonna perpetuate Nazi ideals, you're gonna be called a fucking Nazi. Relativism unhinges everything that the West has ever accomplished, which is fucking, aside from genocide, slavery, fucking war, what the fuck has the West ever really accomplished? Aside from fucking near constant war, genocide, fucking mass murder. And yes, mass murder is not the same as fucking genocide. They're two very... genocide can be mass murder, but mass murder not isn't necessarily genocide. Real science is what gets slaughtered when you force it upon the ugly concept of the taboo question. It's taboo because it doesn't... it's a question that you should not be fucking asking. Fucking... the hypothetical that can never even be discussed. Because it has been discussed and it led to the fucking Holocaust. It led to the near extermination of the Jews, of fucking gay people, of black people, of the Romani, of fucking countless other fucking groups of people that were lost in the goddamn fucking Holocaust. But even doing honest research, big fucking quotes for me on honest research on racial differences has long been a one-way ticket to academic suicide. For a reason! Charles Murray and James Watson are only two of the names that come to mind. From James Watson's Wikipedia. He discussed his view that Africans are less intelligent than Westerners. Watson said his intention was to promote science, not racism, but some UK venues cancelled his appearances, and he cancelled the rest of his tour. An editorial in Nature, a scientific journal. Granted, an editorial is not a scientific journal; it's not even not a scientific paper, but it's a fucking Nature is a scientific journal. Said that his remarks were beyond the pale, but wished that the tour had not been cancelled so that Watson would have had to face his critics in person, encouraging scientific discussion on the matter. Because of the controversy, the Board of Trustees at Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory suspended Watson's administrative responsibilities. Watson issued an apology, then retired at the age of 79 from CSHL from what the lab called nearly 40 years of distinguished service. Watson attributed his retirement to his age and circumstances that he could never have anticipated or desired. 2008, Watson was appointed Chancellor Emeritus at CSHL, and in a BBC documentary that year, Watson said he did not see himself as a racist. As of 2009, he continued to advise and guide project work at the library. In January 2019, following the broadcast of a television documentary made the previous year, in which he repeated his views about race and genetics, CSHL revoked honorary titles that it had awarded to Watson and cut all remaining ties with him. Watson did not respond to the developments, having been ill since a car accident in October 2018, and hopefully he's fucking dead soon. Fucking... let's just control race. Let's control. Okay. Let's see. In 1994, he started as president and served for 10 years of the Cold Spring Harbor Library. He was then appointed chancellor, serving until he resigned in 2007 after making comments claiming a genetic link between intelligence and race. Fucking yeah. It's not great. And Charles Murray wrote the book The Fucking Bell Curve. The Bell Curve. In which he argues that intelligence is a better predictor than parental, socioeconomic status or education level of many individual outcomes, including income, job performance, pregnancy out of wedlock, and crime, and that social welfare programs and education efforts to improve social outcomes for the disadvantaged are largely wasted. Fucking yeah. Let's see. Fucking. The Bell Curve. Let's see. Of the book Origins, Murray said, I got interested in IQ and its relationship to social problems. Which is controversy stemmed from chapters 13 and 14, where the authors write about the enduring differences in race and intelligence and discuss implications of that difference. They write in the introduction to chapter 13 that the debate about whether and how much genes and environment have to do with ethnic differences remains unresolved. Fucking. And it seems highly likely to us that both genes and environment have something to do with racial differences. After the publication, various commentators criticized and defended the book. Some critics said it supported scientific racism, and a number of books were written to rebut the Bell Curve. Those works included a 1996 edition of evolutionary biologist Stephen Jay Gould's The Mismeasure of a Man, a collection of essays, The Bell Curve Wars, reacting to Murray Herrnstein's commentary, and The Bell Curve Debate, whose essays similarly responded to issues raised in the Bell Curve. Arthur S. Goldberger and Charles F. Mansky critiqued the empirical method supporting the book's hypothesis. Citing assertions made by Murray in the Bell Curve, the Southern Poverty Law Center labeled him a white nationalist, charging his ideas rooted in eugenics. Authored a policy study for AIE on the subject matter as the Bell Curve, in which he wrote, fucking... Oh, this is, let's see. Public speech and protest at Middlebury College. On March 2nd, 2017, Murray was scheduled to speak at Middlebury College in Middlebury, Vermont, about coming apart, the state of white America. Not a racist. Not a racist. Murray was invited to attend the college by Middlebury's American Enterprise Institute Club, who received co-sponsorship of the event from a professor in the political science department, who apparently doesn't have a name. Before Murray was able to speak, students within the hall rose to their feet and recited in unison a speech about the eugenicist implications of Murray's work. Students proceeded to chant, Charles Murray, go away, racist, sexist, anti-gay. Who is the enemy? White supremacy. This is what democracy looks like. And dance in the hall in an effort to stop Murray from speaking. Bill Berger, Middlebury's blah blah blah, announced that the speech would be moved to another location. A closed circuit broadcast showed Murray being interviewed by political science professor Alison Stanger. Chanting from protesters could be heard throughout the broadcast. After the interview, there was a violent confrontation between protesters, both from the college and the surrounding community, and Murray, Vice President for Communications Bill Berger, and Stanger, who was hospitalized with a neck injury and concussion, boo-hoo, as they left the McCullough Student Center. Middlebury students claimed that Middlebury public safety officers instigated and escalated violence against nonviolent protesters, and that Administrator Bill Berger assaulted protesters with a car. Middlebury President L'Oreal Patton responded after the event, saying that the school would respond to a clear violation of the law, blah, 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 and then they fucking took action against the 74 students. Not the fucking, not the bell end who wrote the bell curve. The fucking real education. 4 simple truths for bringing American schools back to reality. Fuck, in our hands, a plan to replace the welfare state. By the people, we're building liberty without permission. Fucking, but yeah. Anywho, those are the people that you fucking are defending right now. We've gone farther and farther down the rabbit hole since the long-forgotten 1970s. This, the year of our Lord 2019, the word racist now means nothing more than critical of any non-Caucasian. No. It's not that you're critical of, people of color. It's, one, why you're criticizing them, how you're criticizing them, and if your criticism is valid. We see this so often that instances need hardly be enumerated, which is really fucking convenient for you. Where don't judge a person by the color of his skin espoused a principle that was equally to all persons. Don't be critical of a non-Caucasian is a commandment of a wholly different kind. Again, which again is not fucking true. Plenty of people have criticized Neil deGrasse Tyson for being a shitty human being. Not because he was black, but because he's a shitty human being who has made excuses for a lot of really fucked up things and has been accused of being a sexual predator. But, fucking, plenty of people, fuck me. Jesse Jackson gets criticism. Al Sharpton gets criticism, from, people and some of the, whatever. Far from being egalitarian and meritocratic, yes, because fucking America, after the Civil Rights Movement, it became a meritocracy. Not a fucking capitalistic shithole, as it always has been. God, my one fucking tweet is getting so much fucking interaction. It could easily be restated, judge a non-Caucasian innocent by the color of his skin, and judge an unapologetic Caucasian guilty by the color of his. Generally because the, unapologetic Caucasian is usually doing this, screaming blood and soil, running people over with their cars, shooting up mosques and synagogues, and churches, So much for equality, so much for Dr. King and his high-minded rhetoric. Which is really funny because, again, you're using one quote from an entire fucking speech. Which, it's very interesting. If white supremacy is morally bad, it is difficult to see how non-white supremacy is likely to be any better. Excuse me? So people unequivocally, diametrically opposed to white supremacy are the same as white supremacy. Also, I love the idea of if white supremacy is morally bad. If white supremacy is bad. As if, to me, that says that you think it isn't bad. There's some real racists in my time. There were some real racists in my time, right now too, who looked no deeper than skin color ever, like you. Unfortunately, there are far more real racists now. The lopsided leftist formula now in vogue states explicitly that only white people can be racist. Citation needed. Plenty of people say that fucking, Louis Farrakhan's a fucking racist and a bigot. And what looks like racism on the part of any non-white person is merely an expression of a reasonable sense of outrage. that's kind of been building for hundreds of fucking years. Because they were treated like, inferior people, and, that's not true and has never been true. Except in the minds of racist, bigoted sacks of horse shit that started this country and probably should have their corpses, fucking desecrated in a spectacular fashion. Fucking... If that's not racist, nothing is. Because again, people being like, hey, don't be a racist is totally, that's racist. Like, hey, don't be a fucking racist piece of shit. Don't make assumptions about people because of your fucking bullshit ideas. That's racist, apparently. Exempt a human being from accountability for his individual behavior, and you create not only a racist, but a barbarian. Like Donald Trump. A society bereft of principles isn't really a society at all. And I love how you think that we don't have principles. Okay. I look to a day when... Oh, he's quoting fucking, King. I look to a day when people will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. And yet when that happens, you get whiny and pissy and moany. The echo of this sentiment is not only a whisper. Wow. Fun fact, he, after getting death threats, tried to purchase a gun and wasn't allowed to get a gun. Also was blackmailed and, surveilled by the FBI. Also, the Klan was okay to, the Klan is fine to have guns, but when a bunch of, black people started to get guns, as is their constitutional right, that's when gun laws started to change very dramatically. Just ask the Black Panthers. If the word racism has been twisted beyond all recognition, which you stipulate without any fucking evidence, the word character has all but slipped from our language altogether. Just because... Again, this is because this motherfucker gets called a racist all the fucking time. I'm not totally defending race realists and people who believe in eugenics eugenic science. And why are you calling me a racist? I'm just, again, defending I'm defending eugenics. I'm defending, the fucking idea that led to the near extermination of fucking Jewish people, but, fucking... To have character means, or used to mean, being honest, having some semblance of self-restraint, generally being something other than a graspy, self-absorbed, developmentally arrested burden on the backs of more productive people. Projection! Character is not the unique province of any race in particular, but it is a Western value that we all ought to aspire to. Fucking, it's a Western ideal, and by Western you mean white. Let's be fucking honest here, EM. When you say Western, you mean white, because that's, the white supremacists have realized they can't say white people, and, with this shit, because it doesn't make any fucking, fucking, it's horseshit. So there's like, it's Western fucking value. Despite the fact that fucking Greece isn't necessarily a Western country, which I'm fairly certain that's where the word character comes from. Also, Greek people didn't used to be considered white, nor did Italians, by the fucking way. Until, things happened. Anywho, that's all. Have a wonderful fucking day.